first carrier raids. That was in, let's see, that was January 16th, 45. I caught a couple of bombers. I was on a fighter sweep first day, and I shot them both down. And the first one, I came down from 18,000 feet. He was about 2,000. I was going like a bat out of hell. And from 18,000 feet, I was doing well over 400 knots when I got down there in firing range. I gave him a burst, and he just disappeared in a ball of fire. And I managed to miss all the debris, and they're flying in formation like that. I took this one out. I came up around this one, and I was going so fast. I pulled up and I did a loop and came down on him in an overhead run and set him on fire. I pulled back in the throttle, passed underneath him, came up alongside and rolled over, and I came down finally. I settled down. I was flying formation on him and looked in the cockpit, and the cockpit was just engulfed in flame. Well, I sat there, couldn't have been more than 30 seconds, and the emergency hatch came open, and this guy dove out, and another one right behind him, and another one right behind him. And the thing about that is that none of them had any parachutes. They probably just thought they were out on a training mission and didn't need to wear parachutes. They needed them then. I watched them go down in 1, 2, 3, and they hit and bounced like big sacks of potatoes. And then
I kind of wondered even if they gave them the right equipment. Now, so you said you did a loop, so you went upside down in your...
Oh yeah, well I went by them like this, and I wanted to get back in here, and I thought the easiest way to do that was just go up here like that.
Amazing. Did you feel like you just were better trained and better flyers than the Japanese out there? Or how good of flyers were they, Diz? Or keep telling your story, this is great.
Some of them were, I think a lot of them were pretty good.
Sure.
Of course, I don't know, maybe I'm a braggart, an egotist, whatever. I always thought I was better than anybody.
Sure. And, well, sure, and you actually were. Now, it's just a fact, and not bragging, but the Japanese airplanes had improved, so these airplanes you're fighting now are better than the Zeros, right?
Well, those two bombers were what we called Sallies, twin engine. They're big birds.
Okay.
The Tonys, like the first one that I shot down, they had quite a few of those, and they were pretty good airplanes. But most of their airplanes were pretty vulnerable to a well-placed burst of 50 caliber slugs. And
that's why you couldn't catch them, they're so light.
they were very light.
Oh, wow.
And
well, it might be a good time to take a break here in a minute or two. Any thoughts to kind of wrap up this part? And then we'll pick it up after lunch if that's okay, Diz. Thank you, sir.
oh, sure, they can do that. My last The last airplane I shot down was the next day. We went into Tokyo again, and this time I was leading the escort of our torpedo bombers, which were the only things we had. They had taken all of our dive bombers off the ship in about the 1st of November and replaced them with 2 squadrons of Marine Corsairs. So we had 91 fighters and 15 torpedo planes on our ship. So the second day in Tokyo, which was our last, we were assigned Mitsubishi aircraft factory just to the west of Tokyo. And we went in and it was a really impressive sight. You know, we had 16 aircraft carriers and an air group from each one. And we were way in the back. And we approached their air group, and so on. We got in pretty close and the leader decided he needed more altitude. So he said he's going to make a 360. You know, he went a real big circle and we're all following him. And that's when you realize how many damned airplanes we had. I was in the last group and we had to have had probably over 1,000 airplanes in that one flight. It was amazing. So we're going in, and we got to the factory, and the torpedo planes started diving down, and as the last one went over, here came one of those Tonys again, way up high, jumped on the last torpedo plane. I just pushed over and full throttle it and jumped on him and started shooting. And I was kind of iffy on the range because they had gotten a little bit of a jump on me. But finally, this Tony started to smoke a little bit, and he broke off his run. And he went on down, way down to Westinghouse, so I'm pulling out down there, and I was just following this last torpedo plane, and I had a 1,000-pound bomb on me too. And I was supposed to drop on this factory, so I'm lined up to do that. So I let that guy go and followed the torpedo planes down and throttled back a little so I didn't overrun them, and picked out a part of the factory that I thought looked interesting, and I dumped my 1,000-pound bomb there and pulled out.
Oh, time out. Okay, just a second, please. So now I'm gonna hopefully
Making a lot of noise.
Your light went out back there.
Oh, okay, sure. We're okay for that. And go ahead, Dennis, sure.
Well, after dropping the bomb, I pulled out, and we had a path that was laid out for us to an escape route away from the factory. And so I got down right on the deck, and I was following that, and maneuvering through things what we were pointed out to be where they wanted us to fly. Less danger of getting hit with AA fire. So, and so I'm coming along, and I'm all right. I'm maybe 1,000 feet, and I see these tracers come across in front of me. They were way out ahead of me, coming from my right, and I just pulled up and let them go underneath me. And I looked out to the right, and here's a big yellow-nosed F6F. And it couldn't have been anybody else but my wingman. And he's shooting. And I don't know, I just pull up and I let them all go underneath me. And when I did, I happened to look over on my side down here, and here's a Jap Tojo with a brand new fighter down low on the ground. And I thought, not damn, so I just kept on over, and he's down here, and I made a pass at him and shot him, and had pieces fly off this airplane, and he still kept flying. I went by him this way, turned around and by him this way, and I was just shooting the heck out of him and knocking pieces off the airplane, but he kept going. And he never got above maybe 30 or 40 feet off the ground. And I couldn't understand what was keeping that damned airplane in the air. And I said, every time I'd come by, I was very close to him every time, and I could see chunks of his airplane flying off. So and I just kept after him. Finally, I came up, and I was rolling in on him, and I looked up, and here's this high tension wire going across here. He was just about under it, almost, and I would have had to push over this way to get under the thing. And I knew I couldn't do it without hitting the ground. So I went over him this way, let him get by, and I went over the fire, and I resumed my shooting at him. We went in, we got on